And especially, I mean, we could potentially have one of the best bullpens in the month of October if you factor in Wright. If Kelly's pitching well, Barnes is pitching well, Kimbrel's another guy. He's like David Price light to me. We've kind of talked about that a little bit, as far as choking anyway in big games. So, but potentially, it could work out very well, and especially if our starters are going 6 or 7 innings. That 2013 team was built basically on pitching, because I think our team average in the ALCS was like just barely over 200, and then the same thing in the World Series. And that the only reason it was even that high was because Poppy was hitting out of his mind, 688 or whatever.
Oh yeah, it was pitching and just timely hitting.
Yeah, yep, and that would be a nice change, compared to the last few years where our pitching has just sunk us before the offense could even really, have a say in things. So yeah. So we touched on Jalen Beeks a little bit. Not a great outing from the third inning. Well, he was only in there 4 innings, so I guess innings 3 and 4 he kind of honed everything in a little bit, and then had a 1-2-3 inning in the 4th before he was taken out. So for me personally, I mean, it sucks that he gave up 5 runs so fast, but I'm not too discouraged about it.
No, I'm not really worried about it. I mean, Detroit's actually a good hitting team. I think they're like 8th in average in the league or something like that. Chris would definitely know that stat as well. And they can hit the ball. So I'm not surprised they beat up on a rookie who was probably a little nervous. But I think he's going to be good. Even if he goes back down, I think he will be back up at some point with these injuries.
Yeah, absolutely. And with Pomeranz, I mean, this is a phantom injury, isn't it?
Oh, 100% phantom injury. I said it a couple weeks ago. I tweeted it. It's what needed to be done, though, because the guy's a head case right now, and he can't get out of his own way. He needs to go on the DL and just fix mechanics. He needs to start from the basics right now.
Yeah, and I mean, is his future long term, or I mean, this is his walk year one way or the other, and I can't imagine if they're trying to get if they're trying to get back in underneath the luxury cap. I doubt they're really going to pursue him after the season ends, but could he be gone as early as the July 31st deadline?
That's a tough call. I mean, he could be. I think that if he pitches himself this bad, that he's going to have to take like a 1-year show-me deal. And I think if you could get him on a 1-year show-me deal, you might as well, because you could always release him, DFA him, or trade him for like a minor league nothing player next year. So it just depends how close you're on the cap. But as of right now, I don't think anybody would sign him to a 2, 3, or 4-year deal. He's just been brutal, and he's just not showing anything. And at his age and where he's headed, it doesn't bode well for free agency.
Yeah, I mean, Lance Lynn had to come in on a 1-year deal, and I'm surprised it was only that, just that one single year with the Twins. So, and if that's the trend for guys like them, I definitely can't see, I definitely can't see Pomeranz really getting a whole lot. He'll have to maybe take a deal similar to what Masterson did when we tried to revive him in 2015. And unfortunately, it didn't work out well for him that year or beyond. So yeah. But luckily, we have immense depth right now, at least for starters. So let's transition. Let's just get into Mookie and Pedroia, actually, before we get to the rest of the team. I kind of feel like we're getting jerked around a little bit with Mookie Betts.
Yeah, they're doing the whole, Red Sox thing that they always do. He's hurt. He's just a little banged up. We're going to, watch it. Then all of a sudden, he's on the 60-day DL.
Yeah, just skip the 10.
That happens sometimes. Yeah, just skip 10 to 16. But I think they just being partner with him. He's pulled something. It's just a muscle, I think. It's the left side of his body. It's swinging. I mean, I think he's just overworked. I think he's getting banged up out in the field, running into the wall, backing up, diving, making plays. He's running hard on the bases. He's going to get banged up, and I think that he will take it slow. And I think the Red Sox want him to take it slow because the team's playing well, and they need him for October, not for April, May, and June. Pedroia I think Pedroia's on his note. I think his time with the Sox is dwindling down, and I think that this knee is not going to hold up all year. And every time he's going to start getting a groove, I think he's going to need to stop. And I wouldn't even entertain it at this point. I would just go with the hotter hitter with Holt or, Nunez, who I'm not a big fan of. But, Holt's been good. If you need Nunez, he's there. And just figure it out at the deadline if you need to bring in another middle infielder, call up Lynn or something.
Yeah, I certainly agree 100%. I think Pedroia's time has passed him by, and getting him healthy is one thing, and then getting him to perform at a major league level at this point is a completely different thing. I think he was 1 for 28 if you combined in his rehab at-bats with his major league ones. So a lot to be concerned with there. Chris, what's your take on Mookie's situation? Because I'm concerned on a number of levels, and the fact that it happened during batting practice. I mean, this is a 25-year-old who is, by all appearance, in very good shape, and it just I don't know. I mean, how do you see it?
I mean, from what I could recall from pitchers that have lat injuries, it's something that you can't take very lightly because you look, prime example, most recently with Alex Reyes, the top pitching prospect from the Cardinals. He just got back from Tommy John surgery. He pitches okay. I mean, not great, but they noticed the Cardinals that his velocity was dipping, but they still let him pitch. Come to find out, less than 24 hours, he had a lat strain. He's now going to miss the rest of the season. Fast forward, or rather, back up to last year. Same thing with the Mets and Noah Syndergaard. He has I think he had a lat pull. He was out for majority of the season. So, I don't know. I'm sure it's a lot different between a pitcher and a hitter because a pitcher, if you pull your lat, you're pitching and it affects your delivery and you could injure yourself more. Hitting, I don't know exactly the correlation with that, but for the Red Sox to keep him out as long as they have, it's definitely, I think there's more to it than just the lat strain. I think it's something to a point where he can't swing the bat. I mean, we know, prime example, you guys seen him, I've seen him. He's lightning quick, and if he can't have that same sort of bat speed, he's not the same player, and it'll affect him playing defense too.
It's just part of why it's perplexing to me is he was hitting very well up until the day before it happened. So I don't feel like it's been an ongoing injury because it's not reflected in his performance, and then in the days after it, the 2, 3, and 4 days after it, they were saying, well, if this was September, he'd be playing. It wouldn't be an issue. And then they sat him out. I think this was at the day 5 or 6 point. They sat him out against the Houston Astros, who you would think you would want your best lineup in there, especially in a tight race with the Yankees. I mean, eventually every game is going to have to count. Cora likes to rest guys here and there, and he's not going to have the luxury of that if it comes down to the way it did last October, where it was just a horse race all the way through. So I wish they were a little bit more transparent.
Well, I think if you look at the way everything happened, they said, if it's September, he could have played. I think that's a bold-faced lie. I think they were trying to cover up the fact and make it seem like, he's a grinder. There's not, it's not a serious injury. But they had to know over time that if he wasn't going to play for a stretch, which is what's basically happened, eventually it was going to show that, okay, this is a more serious injury. I think what benefits the Red Sox, where if this was a team like, let's say, the D-backs, for a prime example, with Pollock, or if you go to another team who's middling and doesn't have a semi-big lead. I know the Red Sox don't have a big lead with the Yankees, but you have the powerhouse teams where you have the Classic, you have the Indians, you have the Yankees, you have the Red Sox, then you have the Astros, and yada, yada, yada. You can afford, if you're the Red Sox, to sit him. Even if he can play, you're better off not risking him coming back as quickly because of the lead that you have among the rest of the teams, and just the fact that you at least have the time right now where if this was September and they needed him, I'm sure they could throw him out, but why risk him and lose him for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I mean, if it's that bad, then, that's definitely the appropriate course of action for sure. But, I just, like I said, I wish they were more transparent about what exactly happened. And I mean,
just be honest.
Yeah, we're on just every 24 hours, the narrative's different. Because yesterday it was like, okay, rehab start this weekend most likely, then he's back. And now it's like they're not sure, and he might not even be back for the Baltimore series, which is, after the White Sox series. So, I don't know. Dave, what?
Yeah, we're on a need-to-know basis, and we don't need to know, basically, what's going on.
Yeah, apparently. And do you have any, renewed concerns, since the last show?
I honestly don't. I think that, Chris, you're just talking about the lat and how the lat works for pitchers. And when it comes to hitters, the bat speed is all Mookie Betts has because he's a smaller guy. And you're moving, top to bottom, and you're going to attack the ball. And that's coming from your core. It's coming from your obliques and your lats. So it's all connected, especially in the mid-torso there with your body. So he could easily have tweaked it. And, getting hurt in practice, 25 years old, it does sound a little fishy, but take it from a guy that blew out his back, washing his hands, and getting out of bed at 25 years old, that, it can't happen.
Yeah, I can appreciate the back issues because I've tweaked mine in similarly, non-graceful circumstances.
It's always the little things that get you.
Yeah.
Your body, when you're playing sports and you're an athlete, you know how to protect your body when you fall. You know how to protect your body when you run, when you're bracing for a hit or even hitting a baseball. But when you're doing normal day activities, you're not tight, you're not bracing your body. And that's when the little things really, after a while, it wears down. Just the littlest thing can hurt you.
Yeah, and with me, it's like I think I overdo it like the day before during some type of strenuous activity, and then the day after, it's just that bending the wrong way, and that breaks the camel's back, so to speak.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, for me anyway. So sometimes I wonder if I just sleep on it wrong, and then it happens, but. Yeah, but we'll see. My primary concern here with Mookie, and I'm jumping the gun, and people love to roast me for stuff like this on Twitter, but I want whatever concerns they have. I hope they're for the near term. This year, this October. If it comes out that he's more worried about protecting himself for free agency, and his value in that way, then I'm going to get pissed because we don't know if we're even going to re-sign him. I mean, a lot of Red Sox fans think it's going to happen no matter what, and I'm not 100% convinced. I think more likely than not we'll find a way to keep him, but you just never know, and I want him focused on this year and next year and the year after, and winning a World Series should be number one, not landing a potentially $400 million deal. And, if that's why they're kind of nursing him along. A similar situation was like Strasburg. Remember how they just shut him down that year, and it probably cost him a World Series. And his is a little different because it was post Tommy John, and I get that you need to be a little careful with that, but anything else beyond that would just piss me off.
Yeah, I don't think it's the conspiracy side of it with that. But then